Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am PANCZASU, the mighty mix spammer, and welcome to Endless Space, a video in which you choose which faction shall I play in my next playthrough. Now you know how this goes, we have done similar things before twice already, but before we move on, I would like to explain why am I making this videocast right now, because I have been thinking about waiting until the Save the Sowers, which is an official mod, mind you, a rebalance mod, is a little bit more stable, has better changes and so on and so forth. Well, there are two reasons for that, in fact. First reason, I would have to wait another week for that, and I'm impatient, I want to make another Endless Space video right now, because I like Endless Space. Secondly, even after the newer version of Save the Sowers is released, there's no saying if this is a final version or one of the 20 versions that are going to come out. We don't know. It would be better for us if there were actually more versions than less of them. So, you know, I would rather not rush anything that could potentially not be helpful, if you know what I mean. So, in my honest opinion, there's still a good few weeks, maybe even months, until those Save the Sowers changes are implemented in the official release of the game. And even though the mod itself could be stable within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think I'm not risking too much by starting this playthrough right now, and I think you will understand me and agree with me, hopefully. Now, ironically enough, we get some pilgrim ships in the background. Oh yeah, they run. Oh, they do. They are running right now, as you can see. But anyway, no, I will not sing, don't worry. I'll try to limit my singing as well. But anyway, what I want to show you are my factions. Now, I have rebalanced quite a few of them, and the Pillagers, they finally have the description, but I'll get to that. So first of all, last time we tried, and we succeeded by winning the game on endless difficulty as my custom race called the Templars. This is the first time I have ever beaten the game on endless difficulty, and I'm quite proud of that. The Templars are quite strong, mind you, they have the most overpowered affinity in the game, at least in my honest opinion, but it doesn't matter, I still feel kinda proud because of this. So where do we go next? Well, I have been thinking to either A, use AO's aggressive AI mod, which makes AI, well, more aggressive. It will give me much harder time. Paired up with the endless difficulty, I am most likely going to lose the next videocast. I might actually, however, not do this, which will depend from the faction that you make me play as. I'll go into detail in a second. Secondly, I was also considering using alternative galaxy generation, mod that is, but I'll think about this a little bit more before I say it for sure. And thirdly, in my next run, what I will do is go into those victory options, and I'm going to turn Wonders, Scientific, Diplomatic, Economic, and that's about it. All those victories are going to be turned off. The only way for me to win is going to be a military or expansionist way. As simple as that. I might actually turn on Economic Victory just for kicks, because it has been a while since I have gotten it, and I kinda like it. But what I want to encourage from myself is more action, as much action as possible. However, do not be limited to only evil or militaristic factions. I am open to all sorts of challenges, and if this includes winning a militaristic victory with a peaceful race, I'm all up for that. I will figure out some way to make the law, you know, compatible with this particular playstyle. So anyway, without further ado, which has been quite long anyway, we'll go through the factions that you can choose. Now, those are my custom factions. I want you to choose one of all of those, with exception of Asari, because they're just here to, you know, block off the official factions and my custom factions. Virus, who are just, you know, for nostalgia's sake. Siafu, because we have played as them already. I have lost as them. In fact, this is when my hatred to the pilgrims was born, if a hatred can be born. And I also do not want you to pick Templars, because I have already played as them. So this leaves us with the Chantri. We already went through their lore, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. They are basically plants, and they are very independency lovers, if I may say so myself. They have in terms of gameplay, huge, and I do mean humongous, food growth, but they are extraordinarily bad in pretty much anything else. Oh, sorry. Especially, they're worth it. So if you want to give me a hard time and provide me with a load, with a big amount of challenge, then ask me to play as Chantri. It will be very difficult to win as them, don't you fear. That didn't sound grammatically correct at all, but whatever. Also, as Chantri, I'll probably not use aggressive AI mod, but I will play aggressively nevertheless. I'll try to not be in too many alliances, just to make things as difficult for me as possible. Actually, I might use aggressive AI mod, why not? I'll see. The Sujeong, jack of all trades, masters of none, although they are pretty beastly at science. Now, Gainsay calls them boring, but I think that's because I was able to beat Gainsay's custom faction with Sujeong, and Gainsay was playing as one of his most overpowered factions on top of that. So since then I kinda really do like Sujeong. They have proven themselves to be very efficient at killing somebody who is seemingly more powerful than them, but they do not falter, and they are pretty nice. I like them. They are living crystals, by the way, so they are even more amazing. And Sujeong is Korean for crystal. So there we go. Illuminant! Hey, get back here. They are so overpowered that they even turn off my, you know, race picking screen. But anyway, yes, they are my most overpowered faction, period. I really do like them. They are a race of pure energy that has been born in interstellar space. Interstellar, I don't know what is wrong with my English, whatever, interstellar I was trying to say. They have automaton affinity. This is something I changed. They used to have pilgrims affinity, now they have automaton affinity, so compare that with all their amazing traits like builders and militarists. They are absolute beasts when it comes to industry. They have best industry imaginable, and when they want to build something, they build it. As simple as that. I can play with any playstyle I desire with this faction, which is why it is one of my favorite factions right now in terms of possible playthrough. So if you want to pick Illuminant, that would make me really happy. Next are the Judicators of Lyn. Judicators of Lyn, they are kinda like judges from Final Fantasy. That's how I imagine them, to be quite honest. From Final Fantasy Tactics, to be more specific, the judges. And I have made some changes to this faction, not too many though, so it's pretty much like they used to be before. They have Horatio Affinity, and they are pretty good at having a tall but not so wide Emperor, as Gainsay likes to say for no reason whatsoever. But that's more or less who they are. If I were to play as them with my current set of home rules, I would not probably go for expansionist victory, but instead I'll try to go for supremacy victory, so this would be kinda interesting. Next are Ophio Corporation, probably my most underpowered faction, so if you want me to lose, pick Ophio Corporation. No, I'm kinda serious. They are a race of sapient fungi who can also read your thoughts, which is kinda amazing in and on itself. Problem is, United Empire Affinity is kinda underpowered, to be quite honest, not as much as currently the Sowers Affinity is, but it's still underpowered nevertheless. Those guys are pretty horrible at making anything with their price of beauty or unskilled bearers traits, but they are amazing when it comes to dust. However, because they are businessmen, merchants and diplomats and whatnot, I will not be using aggressive AI mod if I were to play as Ophio Corporation. Next are Planarians. They caught up to my lacking, if this makes any sense in grammatical way. I used to love them, then not really care about them, now I like them again. They changed them quite a bit, rebalanced them in loads of ways. Now they have Pilgrims Affinity, which suits them quite well. Keep in mind, this is a race which shares emotions, not thoughts, but emotions between each other. So they care about not getting head, because if they are head, then everybody of this race is head. This is why they have Pilgrims Affinity, so that they can run away from danger if need be. However, this also made them very aggressive, so they are willing to find and kill people before that anybody tries to kill them. So they encourage this aggressive playstyle, even though they are not strictly speaking evil. So this is why I like this race, and yet again, one of my recommendations for this run. Another recommendation is the Ouroboros Consortium. I rebalanced them as well. Now they have the Sowers affinity, which is the most underpowered affinity currently, but I will be able to handle that, I believe, especially since this faction has pretty decent traits. They have decent military and decent military. No, I'm kinda serious. They also are extraordinary egomaniacs, so they believe themselves to be next endless. They are also cybrids, which is amazing. If you wonder what a cybrid is, well, then I encourage books like Hyperion or Endymion or The Fall of Hyperion or The Rise of Endymion. I really like those books, by the way, yeah. And this faction is kinda based on the cybrids within those books, so... except not quite. But still, they are giant egomaniacs, their playstyle should reflect that, and they either accept other races as their pawns or as dead races, as simple as that. Another race which I would be open to play as are the Radiance. They are definitely an evil race. They are amazing at technology and they are amazing at war, which is why I like them by quite a bit. I'm sorry, I was checking if I'm recording. And that's about it. I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said about them. I think I rebalanced them a little bit, but the core of this faction is still intact. They are exceptional when it comes to killing people, and they're exceptional when it comes to making science out of it. Think of them as GLaDOS, except an antimatter GLaDOS and an entire race of GLaDOS. That's pretty much who they are, so they are pretty amazing. Siafu we are not going to play as. And the Pillagers, finally I fixed the description which has been deleted by accident when the game was updated ages ago. It took me forever to replace it, but it is pretty much what this is. They are pirates. Except they are psychopath. They are like pirates within the pirate ranks. They are the worst scum the universe has to offer, and the only thing they find joy are pretty much evil things. They are not as evil as Siafu. It is impossible to be as evil as Siafu. Siafu are evil to everybody, including themselves. Pillagers, most of them do not actually want to get themselves killed, although many of them actually like inflicting pain upon everybody, including themselves, but still, they are just one tiny bit less evil than the Siafu are. They care about war, they care about killing innocents, murdering civilians, torturing people, all of this nasty, beautiful, wonderful stuff, and they want to kill people. They have the most powerful military I could design. They have History Affinity, which is very, as I said, overpowered. They have snipers, they have deadly weapons, big fleets, optimal structure, militarists, optimal defense, strong alloys, and industrial cyclers and power masters. Find me a more powerful combination when it comes to war and I will bow to you. It is technically speaking possible, but very unlikely. But they pair with all those amazing traits with things like Black Thumbs on level 3, Spendthrift on level 3, and all those other things that make them exceptionally bad at everything but war. In fact, even the fleet is likely going to be very small because they will not be able to afford a bigger one. However, even the small fleet is going to be amazingly powerful. Now, this faction is very difficult to play, I'm not gonna lie, and I would like to play as them, but as I said, my favorite picks would be Illuminant, Ouroboros Consortium, and Planarians. On the second place would be Pillagers, who else? Oh yes, Radiance, and Chantri, Judicators of Lyn, and Ophio Corporation, and Sujeong. Yeah, I know, I have only second and first place, that's how I roll. Anyway, that's about it. Those are your picks. If you wanted to read the lore, you could have paused the video. I'll revert back to the video and pause it now if you wish. And that's about it. I'll give you loads of time to decide because I want to make sure that more than 2 people vote. So please, do leave me a comment, send me a private message, do whatever you want to make me pick the faction that you believe to be most interesting. As I said, I am likely going to use aggressive AI mode, not necessarily but likely, and I will try to make my next playthrough as enjoyable and action-packed as possible because we all like action. So please do not forget to voice your opinion, very important for me, very important. You guys are amazing fans and I just ask you to be a little bit more amazing. And that's about it. It was PANCZASU the Mighty Mixpar. Please don't forget to leave a comment below this video or send me a message to choose your favorite faction. Also consider leaving a like if you somehow managed to enjoy this particular cast. And maybe subscribe to me if you want to know what will happen in my next playthrough. Thank you for watching and I'll see you online.